It feels like home, home, home. It feels like home, home, home. It feels like home.
Hey there friends, welcome to Weldon Home. Today I am going to be making some homemade cashew brittle, and it's something that I like to have on hand to give to friends and neighbors for Christmas gifts. And we're also having a Christmas party later, and so I'm trying to get some things that I can make ahead to just have on hand as finger food for the party. So right now I'm just chopping up 1.5 cups of cashews. Some of them I'm going to leave whole, because it's nice to have some that have big chunks and some that are just smaller little chunks of cashews. But basically, this is what we're going to be making. And so it looks very nice in a little mason jar, just a little ribbon on top, and people love to get just a little homemade gift. So this, like I said, is 1.5 cups of cashews. To that, and in a microwave safe bowl, I'm going to add 1 cup of sugar. Getting low on my sugar. There we go. And I don't have my corn syrup. One sec. So I need 1/2 cup of corn syrup. This container of corn syrup is 16 ounces. So I'm going to use 1/4 of it, and that's going to be a half of a cup. Right about like that. There we go. So 1/4 of the container of corn syrup. And then I'm just going to stir that together with a fork or a spoon, because I guess we're all out of forks right now. And a little pinch of salt. And that is all. And all I'm going to do then is just stir that together and put it in the microwave 6.5 minutes in the microwave. So every minute I'm going to check it and give it a stir, and then put it back in for another minute for 6.5 minutes. There's what it looks like, and I'll pop that in the microwave for 1 minute, and I'll show you what that looks like. So this is what we have after 1 minute. It's still pretty lumpy, still some sugar that's absolutely untouched by the cashews, but you can see it's starting to melt. And what we want to see is the sugar become completely liquid. While we're doing this, I'll put this back in for another minute and stir it again. But while we're doing this, you want to make sure that you have out a Silpat liner or something that's buttered that you can put the hot candy out on. And you also want to make sure that you have some baking soda, some vanilla, and a little bit of butter. So we'll add that after the 6.5 minutes. But I just want to show you while you're waiting. This is my favorite recipe book. I got this before my husband and I got married. And we have been married 27 years. So it's an old recipe book, and when I got it, it was brand spanking new. You can see that the binding has been taped multiple times, and I keep lots of handwritten recipes, favorite recipes in here. And the very first page is my Christmas gifts. And so for Christmas gifts, I love to give away jam, cashew brittle, fudge, granola, and toasted cashews. So you can see I like cashews. But you could use with this whatever kind of nuts that you like. You could use peanuts, and I know a lot of people love peanut brittle. I am not one of those people. I actually don't like peanuts at all. But you could use Marcona almonds, would be delicious. You could even use pecans or walnuts. You can make brittle out of anything with these proportions. What you want to make sure of though is that your nuts are not roasted or salted. You want them uncooked. Where's my bag? You want whole or pieces of your nuts, and you want them unsalted and unroasted because they're gonna cook in the microwave, even though it's just a microwave. So now I'm gonna put it in for another minute, and then I'll give that a stir. And after the 6.5 minutes, we're going to add some of our other ingredients. But once I add this baking soda, it's gotta go out really quickly. So the other thing I'm gonna do is make sure that I have my spatula, and I like to have a little bit of butter on my spatula so that when I get it out of my bowl, it doesn't stick to the spatula. So there's that. I'm gonna have that already. And I won't stick this on there, but I'll put a little tiny bit on my silpat too, because we just want to make sure that it doesn't stick at all. And this becomes a very hard candy, but absolutely one of the easiest candies you'll ever make. I don't know if you've ever made candy like this before, but if you make candy lots of times with sugar that you're cooking until it's liquid, it's really easy to burn the sugar. But with this recipe, because we're doing it in the microwave, it actually comes out perfectly every time. So we'll give that a stir again, and I'll show you what it looks like after it's been 6 minutes, but you can see it's starting to become liquid. The sugar is starting to dissolve, and that's what we want to see. One of the other things is, because you've added corn syrup to it, the sugar doesn't want to crystallize. So that's another thing. If you're melting sugar, a lot of times what you have to look out for is that, the crystals along the edge of something. If you're making something like salted caramel, if you don't get all of the crystals of sugar off of the edge of whatever you're making, it will cause your caramel to be grainy and yucky. But because we've mixed the sugar with the corn syrup, those two things don't want to bond together, so they don't crystallize very easily. So this is just one of the simplest recipes you could ever make. It's a great beginner candy recipe if you've never made candy, or if you've made candy a lot. Doing it in the microwave just makes everything so easy. So this is what it looks like after 6.5 minutes. So now I'm going to carefully add my vanilla. I'm gonna just put a little hunk of butter in there, stir that around, but the vanilla is the one that really froths up. And that's the alcohol cooking off quickly, because this is a very hot mixture. So now I'm gonna cook it an additional 2.5 minutes, again at 1 minute intervals. In the meantime, I'll show you, this is my traditional sourdough raisin loaf, which I have a video for. And this is my trial of a sourdough cranberry loaf. And I have cranberry sauce and fresh cranberries in it. So I'll have to show you and see how that comes out. And it's just really fun to experiment with different things. We have sourdough all the time, so it's nice to have a couple of different varieties. So here we are, it's been another minute. I'll give it another stir. And that's what that looks like. Can you see in there? Really bubbly, extremely hot. Keep away from children, yes. And so I'll put that in for another 1.5 minutes. So you can see it's become kind of caramel colored, still bubbling a bunch. Here, come look, Paul. Bubbly and delicious. Oh my gosh, the smell of it is heavenly. Really great. So now I'm gonna put this in. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and I'll stir that around, and then we'll put it right out onto our silpat liner, or anything that you have that's buttered. A piece of wax paper would be great, parchment paper, whatever you have. But there it is, looking all creamy and delicious. Get those last few nuts off of the spoon, and we'll go ahead and put this right out on our silpat. You want to kind of get it fairly thin. Really don't want to touch it after you plop it out onto the silpat. All the last bits of nuts and all these little edge pieces are the good things to taste, but you can see how it's really brittle. See these little bits that look like hair? That's gonna make it really brittle. And then when you go to eat it, got a finished piece here. It's like this. Listen for the crunch. Crunch. That is some good stuff. I hope you give it a try. And if you like this recipe, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see you on the next video.